Well, hello everyone. I'm Brandon Bonhoeffer, and you are on Focus. And today we are going to be interviewing Tim Miller, Wisconsin's 69th Assembly candidate. Tim, thank you for joining me today. How you doing?
Thanks for having me here, Brandon. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so we learned just last week that you announced your candidacy for the Wisconsin 69th Assembly. Give me a little background before we get into your run for office. A little background on your family growing up and living in Stratford.
Thanks, Brandon. I was born and raised in central Wisconsin. I was born in the city of Waupaca, and I was raised in the city of New London. I have a lot of family in the Waupaca County, Shawano County, Marathon County areas, and knew from a young age that I wanted to go into law enforcement. And I started when I was 22 years old in my law enforcement career. My first job was down in Washington County, and I was down in Washington County for about a year, and then I was hired by the Germantown Police Department and spent about 22 years there, which is kind of funny because I only planned on spending a couple of years there before I moved back to the central Wisconsin area. This is where my heart is and where my love is, and fortunately I had a great career down there, learned a lot down there, and that's where I met my wife. So that was the key to staying in the Germantown area for a while. A few years ago, about 5 or 6 years ago, we started talking about moving back up into central Wisconsin, and we were looking for the right opportunity to move back to central Wisconsin. And the chief of police position opened up in the Stratford area, and after a lot of consultation with my wife and with my kids, and of course with God, we ended up getting an opportunity to move up here. I was offered the chief of police position, and prior to accepting the chief of police position, the whole family came up here. We took a tour of the community, Edgar, Colby Abbey. We looked everywhere, and probably the deciding factor was when we took a tour of the Stratford schools, and the amount of teachers in the Stratford schools that actually grew up in Stratford, moved away, and then moved back to Stratford because it was near and dear to their heart, really had an impact on us. And we made the decision to move up here. We've been up in the Stratford area now for about 4 years. My wife of 20 years, her name is Tirza. She got a great opportunity for advancement with her career and her job up here. And our 3 kids, we have 3 teenagers, Cody, who is 17 and a junior this year, Tessa, who's 15 and a freshman this year, and Reed, 13 and a 7th grader this year. And it's been an awesome, great fit here in Stratford. We live just outside of Stratford in a rural area, a great opportunity to enjoy the outdoors, which is very important to me and my family. Central Wisconsin offers so much to us. And being in central Wisconsin, we're so close to just about anywhere we want to go in the state. But we're an outdoors family. If we're not in the woods or on the waters or on our back deck, as you can see behind me, this is the area that we really love to be in.
Well, that is exciting to see that you were able to get here in Stratford. And, you know, one thing about central Wisconsin, and especially the 69th, we are very blessed, like you said, to have a great education here between Marshall School District, Spencer, Stratford, Abbotsford, Colby, the whole area. There is a lot of good educators here. And the outdoors, you know, you talk about that a little bit. Have you always been kind of an outdoors person, or is that really just kind of come back to you as you've been drawn here to central Wisconsin?
No, since the day I could walk. I grew up in New London, which is on the Wolf River, the Winnebago system. My dad took me out, and I remember him carrying me out when I was a young child and introducing me to the outdoors, and I've done that with all 3 of my kids. They enjoy spending time in the outdoors. Me and my youngest have been up since 4 o'clock this morning, hanging out in the woods, talking to turkeys. Don't be surprised if they walk behind me. They've been making fun of us all week, staying just out of reach. But that's what me and my son talked about in the woods last night was, you know, it's not about harvesting a bird. It's about the time that we spend out there together, that we talk together and enjoy God's great creation. And no, it's always been a part of my life. I'm very passionate about it. I love to share it with others. Next week, I'll be guiding my daughter and one of her friends out into our woods and introducing somebody new to the outdoors, which is something that I really enjoy doing. I love giving back to our youth, and whether it's teaching them in the outdoors. I've been a volunteer coach since Probably my first assignment, my 17-year-old, when he was in T-ball. I've been coaching ever since. Whatever sport they want to participate in, I'm always one of those parents that's more than willing to volunteer, give my time. Yeah, it's benefiting my kids, but the benefit to that is that it benefits other kids too. Not every kid out there has a parent that's willing to volunteer and be a part of their life as much as I am with my kids, and being able to teach athletics or outdoors onto somebody else is a very extreme passion of mine.
You know, we sit here, we're interviewing each other, talking to each other virtually, you know, through all the conversations I've been having over the last few weeks with different business leaders, organization, professionals, and, you know, people that are running for office during this time. We're all a little bit doing things a little bit differently here. But one thing that's been a kind of a common thread is everybody's told me that they've had a lot of opportunities to just kind of slow down, connect with family and friends, in close relationship to, you know, their livelihood. And you talk about being able to do that with your son. You know, obviously COVID-19, this pandemic, is kind of just recreating the way we do things differently. Last night we watched the NFL draft for the first time virtually, and, you know, it had just a different feeling about it. As you kind of look at office, do you see challenges, uh, challenges in your campaign with trying to connect with people, and how should people connect with you?
I don't see any challenges. It's going to change things. I'm not going to be able to go door to door like I had planned to gather signatures. I'm reaching out electronically. Uh, Fortunately, with my job being in law enforcement, I've been working. You know, we don't take any time off. We need to serve the community no matter what's going on out there. So I've been in touch with the community. I've been in touch with a lot of people. I'm easily accessible in my job. People know how to get a hold of me. Not having as many pop-ins to my office as I'm used to during the day when I'm there working, because our village hall is closed, but people are still reaching out to me more by phone now. Campaign, since when I kind of decided I wanted to do this, I immediately started reaching out to people, obviously using my law enforcement connections, but we've been in Stratford for 4 years, and the type of connections that we've made in this community has been really good. Our family's been accepted into this community. My kids have friends with their athletic teams and church and all the activities that they're a part of. So we've been reaching out as a family. I've been reaching out to my connections of parents that have coached their kids and people that just know me as the chief of police, and making arrangements that way, via text, via email. When I announced my candidacy, people were reaching out to me. Where do I sign? You know, how are you doing this? Probably was one of the immediate concerns I was getting was, please tell us you're not leaving the chief's position. We don't want to lose you. And I did speak with our village board about that. Should I be elected, I'm going to take my duties back a little bit, but I plan on staying the chief of police in Stratford. It's very important to me. I started building this department up 4 years ago and hiring the right people, and I don't want to lose that aspect. Law enforcement is and always will be a passion, but it's been overwhelming, the amount of people that have been reaching out to me that want to sign my nomination papers, and we're just going to have to work out those meetings and do it according to the outlines that have been set up by our governor. Agree or not, as far as how strict things are going and how things are being done, we're going to have to work with it.
Absolutely. And you talk about the 69th district, and just so those that are kind of know a little bit of background about the 69th district, it's a rather large district as far as area goes. I mean, it goes all the way over. You're in Stratford, you know, it goes to the edge of the town of Cleveland. It goes all the way west, almost to Greenwood, and then it jots down to cover Neilsville and some of the area around Neilsville. But then it also goes all the way up to like the village of Dorchester. But then it also covers a good chunk of Marshfield. So, I mean, it's a rather large district, and a lot of the district is very much a rural environment. And as we have this virtual meeting, you know, there's a lot of concerns that I've had over the last few weeks is our rural communities, you know, staying connected virtually and being online. and some of my concerns. But as you chose to run for office or had this desire to run in the 69th, what has really been the things that really said, you know what, I want to expand my leadership that I possess and move it into something I can do in a public service role with running for the 69th? What was your desire to really run for this position?
Well, being in law enforcement for 27 years, um, there's always that cliche when law enforcement officers are applying for their job, and one of the questions is asked is, "Why do you want to be a police officer?" And the answer is, "I want to help people." You know, that's what every police candidate says. I want to help people. I want to be involved in the community, and it's really hard to determine how we help people until you get into this job. And my 27 years in law enforcement has been so rewarding. I've held some great positions. I was the Village of Germantown's first school resource officer, so I established the position in the Village of Germantown. And being amongst the teenagers, teenagers kind of get a bad rap. And when I got into the schools, I found out how many great young people there are. You know, when you're in law enforcement, you have a tendency to have connections with that, maybe that 2% that's causing trouble. And you don't get a lot of contact with that 98% of those kids that are great kids, that have goals and ambitions and dreams. And to be able to be a part of that in the schools, that's really where it taught me truly how a law enforcement officer can be beneficial to the community and help people, serve as a mentor, to be that open door in a school with some of those students that don't necessarily connect with a lot of people, and they found ways to connect with me. And that has really driven me in my career. Uh, One of the reasons I was chosen for the school resource officer position is one of my lieutenants at the time said, "You always take the time to talk to people. You listen to what they say, and you truly want to help them, and you truly want to be a problem solver for them." And I didn't even realize I was doing that. That's just the way I thought this is how you do the job. And that really resonated with me. Being in the school and all the people I had contact with there really helped build my my person as to who I was going to become. I've always had an interest in politics. I never knew exactly how I would ever get involved in politics, if I ever would. When I moved up to Stratford, uh, shortly after I got here, Stratford was chosen to host the Marathon County Law Enforcement Memorial. And this was kind of my first impression up here with the other departments and the community. And the first person I reached out to was Representative Culp, and asked him if he would speak at our police memorial. And he agreed to, and we were getting all the planning in place. And then 2 months before our police memorial is when Detective Jason Weiland was shot and killed in the line of duty. And 2 months later, we're doing a police memorial. So Representative Culp was there. Jason Weiland's widow was there. It was a very emotional memorial service. It was very, very impactful. And Representative Culp did an outstanding job. Really, what he said really resonated with us in the law enforcement community, and he really truly showed he cared. And after that time, and after speaking with Representative Culp a few times, it was like, okay, I think I see this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do with politics. I look at, maybe going into politics as my next phase of serving the communities that I've lived in. And I thought I had some time. I thought he would be in the position in another, 4, 6, 8 years, or whatever the case may be. Then this last January, he said he wasn't running for re-election, and it was kind of a shock. I'm like, okay, well, Tim, if you're going to do this, now's your opportunity. I spoke with my wife, spoke with God, spoke with Representative Culp and several other people, and we decided to make a go of it. And my passion in politics has always been there. Now it's time to put my money where my mouth is and step out and tell the people that, yeah, I've served 27 years in law enforcement. I've done everything I can to help communities. I've gotten to know communities, and now I want to take it to the state level and see what I can do to help there.
Listening to you, Tim, and talk a little bit about serving, there's so many people right now that are just, kind of going through life, and there's a lot of uncertainties. And I have to imagine that is same and true for those in the 69th district here. How should people connect with you to share what their concerns are so that you can better understand what the representation of 69th looks as we move closer to a primary and even towards a general election in November?
What I've done prior to even making my announcement, I wanted to make sure I had everything in order. We set up a Facebook page, and that is Miller for Wisconsin Assembly. My Facebook page should pop up. We also have a website set up, millerforwisconsin.com. So we've got some information on there through either my Facebook page or my website. My email is on there, and that's tim.miller@millerforwisconsin.com. My phone number is on my Facebook page. So email me, call me, message me on the Facebook page. I believe there's a way to contact me through my website as well. I always answer my phone. My door is always open. In my law enforcement career, it's going to be the same for my political career. I think I wrote on one of my websites is, I'm not asking people to vote for me to help me, to benefit me, to get me to Madison. They need to vote for me to get me to Madison so I can represent them, so I can help them. I know a lot of the concerns in communities. I know a lot of the issues that are out there. I don't know them all, though. I don't have all the answers either. Meeting with people and talking with people, in my law enforcement career. Sometimes me talking with people helps them realize what the issue is and helps them realize what the solution to that issue is. Sometimes I have to help them along with that solution. It's the same with this. There's a lot of issues out there. There's a lot of problems out in the 69th district, state of Wisconsin, and in this big, large, great country of ours. I don't have all the answers, but us being able to connect via social media, and when we get done with this COVID-19 stay-at-home stuff and we get back to a sense of normalcy and talking to people on the streets, whether it's before the election or after the election, that's the best way to come up with solutions, is to all of us work together. I'm just the tool that the people can use to get their word down to Madison. And, that's why I want them, to vote for me, because I truly will be a great representative for them. And I will listen. That is my job as a law enforcement officer. If you don't listen to what people's problems are, what their issues are, you're not going to hear. You have to listen and then work with them to come up with a solution. And that's what I plan on doing. I plan on being the best listener I can be, and then working with people to come up with solutions so that we can fix what ails us.
So as we move forward here, Tim, how can people help serve you, or how can they help volunteer or get involved in your campaign?
Right now, we need to get signatures for our nomination papers. And that's what I'm working on right now. If people can help me out, I do have contacts in a lot of the communities, and I'm reaching out into those contacts. I'm more than willing to drive anywhere I need to go in order to get those signatures. So if people are sitting at home and saying, Mr. Miller, I want to sign your nomination papers, but how do we do this safely? And email me. I'll drive over to your residence and we'll figure out how to make it work. The thing about my kids' athletic careers is I know every city in the 69th district. I've spent more time in Neillsville than I think in most cities in the district. And I think that's important because it's way on the other side of the 69th district from Stratford. But I've spent so much time over there with my kids' athletic tournaments, basketball, softball, baseball, volleyball, football, you name it. And I've made some connections over there, all over. So I don't have a problem. I've driven to Neillsville so many times for my kids' sporting events that if I need to go over there to speak with somebody or to go over and get signatures, that's what we're working on right now. So if you guys anybody wants to sign my nomination papers, reach out to me at my email address, and it's tim.miller, MILLER, at millerforwisconsin.com, and we'll make it work. I'd like to get about 300. We need 200 to 400. So if we can sit in that 300 area, and I'd like to have signatures from all over the district, not just from the Stratford area. But I don't think I'll have a problem getting those signatures, especially with the connections I have in the Stratford area. But it would be great to have signatures from every community in the 69th district, just to show that support throughout the district, not just one area of the district.
Well, thank you, Tim, for that. And thank you for joining us today and connecting with us. Just appreciate your time on here. And as we move forward, if you have concerns or comments or just topics that you want to discuss, continue to connect with us here on Focus. Any departing words before we go for today?
Yeah, one thing that I wanted to talk about, I watched your interview with the Democratic candidate, Brian Giles, and when you had mentioned about all the Republicans that have come forward and declared their candidacy for the 69th, and he had made mention that, you know, maybe his thoughts were is that there was some divisiveness in the party, and that we'll all have to fight it out in order to face him. When I watched that, I really disagreed with that. I think it's a great opportunity. I think we've been represented well here by Representative Culp. The first thing I'll say is I'll never be Bob Culp. He's a great writer. A lot of people follow his Facebook page. He has adventures all over the world and his family all over the world. And that's not me. You know, my adventures are here in Wisconsin, and my family's mostly here in Wisconsin. But the fact that people want to take his place, I think he's laid the groundwork for us. And I think it's a great opportunity. I don't care if there's 4 people going for the Republican nomination or 6 or 10. I think it's a great opportunity for the people of the 69th district to really pick who they want and to have that choice. I think the fact that we have so many people interested is great. Sometimes there's elections where there's people that just don't want to volunteer. They don't want to give their time. And I think that's really shown to be different here. So however many candidates there are, I want the best candidate to represent this district. And if that happens to be me, great. But the voters have a choice, and they can do their research. They can reach out to the candidates, and they can, the people that really want to find that right person has a choice. And that's what elections are all about. So I disagree that there's all these people in here because of decisiveness or division within the party. I think it's Bob Culp has laid the groundwork for us, and we want to pick up the torch and carry it on. So other than that, me personally, I think I've said it throughout this conversation, I want to help the people. Me personally, I consider myself a Christian. I'm a pro-life Republican. I love all life, and I don't think any of it should be taken just for political reasons. As talked about earlier, I'm an outdoorsman, pro-Second Amendment. I think everybody should have the right to defend themselves, protect themselves, or be able to go out in the woods with a gun and enjoy the outdoors. I love going to church on Sundays with my family, and we're very close that way. And that's a lot of the connections I've made in the community has been through church, school, athletics, and that is a great family atmosphere. And that's what I really enjoy. I enjoy family, and I think that's one of the biggest things with the 69th district is to see so many families. And I know it's athletic events, but all the families are there. Sometimes parents that you don't see in any other setting in the community, you see them at their kids' games, and that's phenomenal. So the closeness of the 69th district, we've only been here 4 years, but we feel like this is our home. We moved here. We didn't know what was going to happen with us being here, but it's been nothing short of phenomenal. And we've been blessed greatly by God with everything we've been given here. So maybe I'm not from the 69th district, but I'm just from a little bit east of here, in the Waupaca, New London area, and we've got the same values and the same issues that bother us. And I want to represent you. I want to be your representative to the 69th district. And if you have any questions or concerns, please reach out to me. I will gladly talk with you and see how we can make this happen.
Sounds good, Tim. Thank you for joining us today. Guys, if you want to connect with Tim, go ahead, hit the description above. His information is included in that. Guys, as we continue to cover the elections here in Wisconsin and move forward, especially with coverage here for the 69th District, continue to follow us. We're going to give everyone the opportunity to speak with us and share their stories as we move forward. This is a challenging time for all of us, and just being able to connect and learn about one another is really important for how we make the right decisions. Tim, thank you for your time today. Guys, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for tuning in.